Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Monday, January 29th, 2024, and another rockin' start to our show. Good morning, everybody. My name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to be hosting another show of DYOR Live here on the DYOR Media Network. And I've got my good friend and co-host Pedro in the house. Pedro, what's happening?
¿Qué pasa? Órale, vatos. Hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody is doing good and you guys are enjoying life. Tell me Tom, how was your weekend, man? How are things?
Good, man. Good. I had a good weekend. I made the move back from the temporary studio in the in-laws' basement back to the Ottawa studio now, and I've got the proper setup here. And amazingly enough, so far, no real technical glitches other than going live 15 minutes early because you didn't check the YouTube auto start button. It should be off, so I can start manually, but instead... it started 15 minutes early. So it was a long waiting room today. But Pedro, I got to get a couple of social media things out. I want you to tell everybody what to do.
Yeah, if you guys don't mind doing me a favor here real quick, please hit that like button and that share button to your respective enjoyable social media platform. While you're at it, please also, if you don't mind telling me where you're at or where you would like to be. As you all know, I would love to be on the beaches of San Diego catching a surf or on the beaches of Santorini where I can be hanging out with people and drinking a nice thing of coffee. Actually, why am I doing Italian when it's Greek? I don't even sometimes
I don't know why.
Right. Anyways, the Santorini, maybe back because Rome ruled it, and that's something I'm going to say. All right. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. So if you guys don't mind, please doing that. Also, tell me, partly what you did this weekend. Did you guys go enjoy? What did you guys have to work? What did you guys do?
Pedro, what did you do this weekend? You got me before the social media split, but what did you? How was your weekend?
It was good, man. I actually worked a lot. I'm working on my trading coach did a whole entire thing where he kind of goes over it basically, if anybody's a real trader, they know that the real skill set comes not from trying to what's the word I want to use? Copy traders or whatever, right? The real skill set is you developing your own trade plan and then you getting better by keeping track of your own trades so that you can sit there and analyze it and just basically just nit and pick it to the point where you increase your trading ratio. That's where the real skill is at. So my coach yearly goes through and, revamps his and goes through it. And every trader should do that. I'm actually in the process of myself doing that. So checking and going back and looking at back testing stuff. And so I watched them and I thought a lot about that because, I was working and I was doing a lot of work on that. Yep. And then, so that's kind of what I did this weekend. Just did more contemplation of the market and what's actually happening and watching Bitcoin starting to continue up. I mean, the problem is it's like the same issue that we've had. Wait,
hold on 1 second. You said something important there in your little intro there, what you did. Yes, you used the word trading coach.
Yes.
Did all of our viewers hear that? How many of you out there have a trading coach? Or we'll even use the word mentor for your digital crypto life. And if you say it's me, then well, congratulations, you picked the wrong guy. If you said Pedro, that's good because he has a trading mentor and coach, but I do not. Yeah. But anyway, let us know in the chat. Let us know if you rely on anybody else or if there's anyone specific in your life or crypto life, I don't mean in your household because nobody understands what you're doing in your own household, that you rely on for information other than watching shows like us. But if you're a trader and you trade more than the now and then like I do, is there somebody that gives you the good advice that you go by and make sure that you're on the straight and level? Pedro, how long have you been working with a trading coach?
Probably about 4 years. So I've probably spent over $100,000+ on education. I didn't go to school, and not many of you guys know my history, but basically, long story short,
Darrow,
I
welcome
troubled.
to the show. He wants to be calling in from Madrid. But wait, he is in Madrid.
Oh no,
Go to the beach.
Latin
Go
at the
go down
beach,
to Malaga or wherever the closest beach is.
Latin. As you can tell, I worked on my accent there, horribly.
No.
Latin. Anyways, and so honestly, I got mentors. So I see people who I want to have what they have, right? Meaning like one person doesn't really ever get upset. They just stay kind of level, and no matter what circumstance they're in, they themselves handle it pretty well. And so I've made friendships with that person and just said, hey man, I noticed you were really good. And so I just started asking questions, and it became more of a mentor a relationship with that person. I also have one where, from a professional level, the person can speak into my life and just ask me, where are you at with this, or where are you at with that? And so, but these are things that I've developed. I see people who are really skilled at something, and everybody loves sharing their knowledge and things that they've gleaned off of life. So if you can listen well and talk and communicate well, or not even well, but just because here's the thing, these guys aren't perfect in it all their life,
Right.
but there's certain areas that they're good at that I am looking for development. And so, I submit my own personal thoughts and opinions, and I listen to them because they're good at what they do, and I want that ability. Mine, I'm really good at self-introspection,
Introspection.
introspection of my own emotions, because if I don't, somebody's gonna catch a gnarled arm, or I'm gonna flip out on some people. So I'm pretty good at knowing, okay, I'm about to flip here, let's relax a little and work through this emotional stuff. So I would encourage everybody, always be looking, always be, if you see somebody good at some, become a friend, and then be like, what, I noticed you're really good at this. And here's the other thing. People who are very driven, majority of the time, don't have time for mentees. So make sure that if they decide to do it, understand it's a big deal. People who are driven,
It
people
is
who
a
are good
big
at
deal.
something.
It's a big deal, especially when you get someone teaching you that's a lot more driven than you.
Yes.
Anyway, let's
Absolutely.
get to BTC and what is happening in the
Yeah.
markets today.
Absolutely. Pedro's daily wisdom. Anyways, I don't know how much that's worth. All right. So I talked about this last week. I said it all depends on what we're going to see with us closing above that 100-day period moving average as we were coming down to. And I said very closely, I said we didn't really see a lot of volume off of this, right, in comparative to this, but it did set up and it did hold. So I said if this holds with volume, we should see a continuation of it. Now, you can see here, it did hold. Now, there's not a lot of volume. So in the back of my mind, I'm still skeptical on literally what this is actually going to look like and what it's actually going to do. Is this going to continue? I am skeptical. I really am. But I was skeptical here, and I was skeptical here, right? Because again, look at the volume, right? The volume wasn't there until here. But if you looked at it from this standpoint, this volume day in comparison to the other volume days weren't much. We really started seeing it come in when it started to excel. So for me personally, I'm still a little bit hesitant, just being all honest, that this still could be a fake bull rally and then see a turnaround. When I look at the inner time frames here, inner time frames to me speak of that it is not necessarily doing what it's supposed to do again, right? Like I see more supply wicks, which are wicks that are to the upside versus down wicks that are demand wicks that people buying. So because I'm seeing more of supply wicks moving up, and I just sit there and go, it's most likely going to go down. But we all know the market does what the market wants to do, and the market is always right.
Right.
So if we're moving up, okay. Then
So wait, let
go
me
ahead.
catch what you said there. The last two times there was low volume, it pumped
Yeah.
against usually when you say there's low volume, it's going to sell off because there's not enough
Yep.
trading going back and forth.
Yep.
And so now we're
Yeah.
looking at another pump. But yeah, because like I said, what I was letting everyone know about when I started the show too early today, title of the show was, is BTC in a consolidation phase for a little bit after it's, up and down and post ETF mess. We're going to see some market action or not. And kind of looking at it, I was like, well, the grayscale stuff is over. We're kind of going to sit on the pump now and consolidate for a while. And not an hour after I made the show graphic, pump. It's like the market's going to do what the market wants to do. That's for sure. But I was looking at I also was looking, I take what you say to heart, and I was looking at the volume, and I was like, it looks like it's just going to consolidate for a little while. But the consolidations that I can see on your chart there have higher volume than it. Look at the volume since the ETF launch.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
It's dead.
Yeah,
it's dead.
Yeah, that's exactly what I keep bringing up. It's like it just doesn't make sense to me. So you have a lot of trading going on between its own, within their own system, but it's not. It's just not. I don't know. I just, in all honesty, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, look, there's a lot more volume. Looky here. This was the day of the launch, right, where it started trading. So look, we had the sell-off. Boom. So to me personally, like, the only thing I can say is, look, this is a retracement back into supply. Okay, because it's retracement back into supply.
I love your phone.
Oh yes, and it always calls me at this time. Give me one second.
It's some awful song, and I all I hear is it's like a mosquito in my ear. Like, what does it sound like in person? Must not be that. Anyway, Pedro's getting his phone.
No. So I apologize. Let me go. Really,
That's
it's
all right.
a beautiful melody. It's a beautiful melody of
Sounds like
there's
Indian
a
Arabic music
island.
of some sort.
Oh no, it's if anybody has Samsung and you look at if you have a Samsung and your ringtone is in it, you'll notice it's called Mother's Tune. It's one of the ringtones. It's a beautiful but what you hear, the e, right, that e sound is the violin. So obviously violin does not translate over.
Yeah, it's not picking the microphone's
airways.
not picking up those frequencies.
Exactly. Yeah, but so I think it's Mother's Tune. If you have a Samsung and you can, you have the ability to change your ringtone, it's pretty nice. So when you hear it in person, you're like, oh, that's very pleasant. Oh wow. So, but anyway, jumping back to Bitcoin. So here's the thing: we put in a lower low here, but we bounce off the 100-day moving average. So in the same sense, when I'm looking at this, it potentially could be coming through and pushing up. Like I said, if we hit this directly, almost like to a T, where it just bounced like something like this, right? And I'm not using this as I'm using it kind of as an example. You see right here where we pretty much tap. This wasn't even a tap. I'm looking for something that would just be a tap. Nope, no tap. Boom. The tap-aroos are, to me, like the really most important thing to look at. The tap-aroos. This right here. You see right here how we tap it in? Is
I gotta make it. I'm gonna make that into a visual, and Happy Gilmore's gonna have to come up with Coach, whatever I can't remember what's his name in the movie.
Shooter. No. Shoot. I've seen him floating when he dies in the air right now. I don't know why I am.
And his fake wooden hand.
His wooden hand, dude. That thing was so awesome, bro.
If any of you guys haven't seen the movie Happy Gilmore, you gotta go watch it.
If you haven't watched it, then you're at a miss. Like, you legitly, it's one of those movies that I guess more of a cult classic. I mean, like now, like that's our day and age, right? Like these kids would be like, Happy Gilmore, what? I don't even think they would find that stuff funny anymore. And whereas, because he's so rude back then, right? So it was like, they would say, oh my goodness, I'm so offended. So could be that as well. Anyways, but I'll put this in conjunction here. I want to see something like this, where we just tap it and then we push up. So in the same sense, we didn't necessarily do that here. We came in, you see, it really kind of pushed through it. So it's kind of weaker. So this is why I'm sitting there going, is this just pushing up? And on the daily chart, it really is putting this thing to see it turning back around and come on down to China. Okay, I always mess that up. And that's another. If you haven't seen Big Trouble in Little China, with what was his name?
Jack Nicholson?
Jack Nicholson. No, it wasn't Jack Nicholson.
No.
It was shoot. Anyways, he says, "Oh, there's down to Chinatown," and I always crack up. So as a kid, I saw that, and so I used to always use that. But now you can't say stuff like that. So it's, anyways.
Kurt
but this
Russell?
is what Kurt Russell. There you go, Kurt Russell.
Right.
My man, Kurt Russell. Thank you. Right on point. Lawton. Hey man, we missed you. We missed you. Chubbs Peterson. Yeah. On Friday, man, I was hoping to hear your Scottish accent to come over. But yeah, man. What was that? Rant. No, what was it? Rant. Not free rant.
Full rant Friday.
Full rant Friday. Full rant Fridays, man. You come on, you're able to rant away and just complain about the world, and everybody else won't listen. If you want to come and just complain about your wife because she just doesn't listen to you, which never happens. But whatever it is, right?
No,
Boom.
never.
Never. And vice versa. She'll never say you don't listen to her too. So whatever. All right. Anyways, I'm touching some crazy grounds here. But again, we're pulling back up to an area. We're about 50% of this move. Okay. And I'm not seeing a ton of volume. We're about halfway done with the day. And we're not even halfway of the volume of the previous days of the least amount of volume. So this is why I'm more apt to sit there and say this is a pullback to go down, because we have lower lows here. This would put in the lower high, and then this would come down. But again, we don't know because the institutions like to flip and move things around. I do have to admit, though, the traders in crypto, they're much more trading crypto in the past years have been just very, very technical, extremely technical. So because there's not necessarily
been no good news, so they have to figure out something.
Yeah.
Fundamentals were shit for a year. Bad news.
Exactly.
Gotta go technical.
Exactly. So it trades very technical. So it's very interesting. So in the same sense, this is where now the institutions are involved. And to quote Jamie Dimon today, he was talking, or was it Sunday? Over at Davos, when he was basically just saying, like, look, crypto, there are cryptos that do stuff, that have good fundamentals. I think that's great. Blockchain is a real thing. But Bitcoin, it doesn't do anything. But, and again, I
Mako Stop says his name was Chubbs Peterson. Chubbs.
Yeah. Chubbs. Yeah, Chubbs. That's how I was like. So
you guys beat us to it. I'm slow on the comments here this morning, ladies and gentlemen, but keep them up. We enjoy them.
Always, man, always. And by the way, what's up, Mako? Hope you're doing well, brother. Spacecast also was watching. Shout out to Mr. Doctor. What is it? Is the whole entire fist in, Doc? Or what was it?
oh yeah, I forgot. I forgot the
yes.
The God, where did I see? I'm not on it for the fart in your general direction one.
So, Mr. Lawton, we can't say that word. So what we use is. There you go. When it comes to that word that you just typed in, we got to be very careful. So what we say is cerveza sickness.
Cerveza sickness, right. You mentioned you use that word too much and the YouTube algorithm just shit cans you.
Yeah, absolutely. So the word that must not be said. But in the back, when we're looking at Bitcoin and when we look at the volume here, again, we're not seeing a lot. And again, I sit there and I just, there a lot of the shorts are not on. Like when you look at the shorts are not there. They're not picking up. Look, this is the shorts of Bitcoin. They're dropping off. They're at almost all-time yearly lows. So it's like the shorts aren't there, right? So if shorts aren't there, if this thing turns around, there's nobody to capture the bottom of it. So this is where I sit there and I go, that's not a good thing. Now, we do see a lot of people buying, but we don't see it. So it's basically buy, sell market. But the buy, sell market isn't necessarily putting a lot of volume. So this is where, for me,
Which chart is this?
This is the longs on Bitcoin. We can sit there
Bitcoin
and see
longs.
for the spot ET, or for the spot market for Bitcoin, this is what this is right here.
What's
So
the time frame here? Daily?
Yeah, this is the daily. Yes.
And so this dumping over here is the number of longs getting liquidated.
Yeah, basically, yes, exactly.
When the market tanked after the ETF.
Absolutely.
That's interesting. I like that chart. See, I learned something new today.
Yeah, this is the chart I always go to when I want to really get an in-depth working of what is happening on the blockchain within crypto, right? And all the major blocks out there, or blockchains out there, like Ethereum, BNB. Actually, BNB took theirs off because people were actually going through and trying to short them. Once he squealed on SBF, everybody, like I always talk about this, everybody went to go short him because he was everybody's golden goose. So everybody was just trying to take him out. So in the same sense, they took the internal workings of their coin off the market. But again, you see XRP and all of them are there. I can go type in short, or what is it? Name what major, I'm trying to think what's a major coin out there right now.
Solana, Cardano.
Solana. Yeah, there we go. Solana. Sol shorts. And where are you at? Come on, that's the one time that I'm looking for it. Shorts, here we go. Shorts, ADA, Litecoin, boom, Solana right here. Look, Solana shorts. We can sit there what's actually going on. These are some of the things that I actually pay attention to, right? Like, so you guys know, you can sit there and see what's actually happening. If you want to see what's going on with ADA, sometimes you guys I'll pick a point and I'll be like, yeah, I should, because what happens is when I see a point in the market where there's supply, meaning their seller should be sitting there, I'll come here and I'll see if they're activating the shorts. And so ADA, let's say ADA short. Look at that. I don't understand, but watch. It just pops right up. Oh, that's why I'm missing the USD. All right, let's go check out ADA, right? So you can see ADA shorts are picking up, right? We're pushing up. And you can see on this that, and I was looking at this this morning, early morning. You can see here that the shorts were picking up as it was dropping off. Now you can see that shorts are dropping off, and then you can sit there and see, well, what's going on with the longs? Right, our longs picking up. So we go.
And this is Cardano?
Yes, Cardano. Boom. Right. So now you can see here, we're starting to get a pickup of buyers and the market here for Cardano, right? On the actual blockchain. And we keep hearing about these ETFs coming out for every major blockchain, right?
I'm going to have a Striking ETF.
I thought about having a Striking too, bro. Striking Balls ETF, dude.
Right. It's going to be big. I mean, where everyone's going to take want shares of this. It's going to, what's the underlying asset?
Big Striking Balls ETF.
Right.
That's what we should call it. And the acronym will be
BLAZ balls.
but in the same sense. Oh, we're such a goofballs.
Sorry, honey, you're not the only one that owns my balls.
Oh man, Mrs. Striking, just don't strike too hard. That's all I ask. I need them every morning. Every morning. That's all I need. Okay.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this is the entertainment you get on the DYOR Media Network.
Hey, I gotta admit though, at least you get to have your pants some days. Okay, so that's impressive. That is impressive. Most men don't even get to decide how much money they get for lunch. So ouch.
All right, let's finish up this topic quick, and we'll hit a little bit of news before coming back to the charts.
Absolutely. So long story short, as I'm looking at BTC and all these other things, these are the things that I'm looking at metrics. Now, obviously, I also look at hash rates, what's going on within that, and a few other things that correlate with that. But honestly, when I'm looking at the chart itself, I go to the chart and then I tap into what's actually happening. And so this is where it's just unique because we don't have a lot of volume coming in, and it pretty much is putting pressure, right, on if we do start to turn around, there's going to be nothing that's going to hold it up, right? We literally have a slip and slide all the way down past the 100-day period moving average, all the way down to this 200. Now, if we go to the weekly chart, you can see I talked about how with the weekly chart, we closed above here and we're pushing up. But this weekly chart, remember I always talk about this. We want to first see it go down first to go up. Well, we didn't see that. We're seeing it go up first right now into Sunday and Monday. And so if it goes up first, what should it do? Towards the mid to end of the week, we should see it go down. So this is where I sit there and go, it's telling me like, it wants to go down. And I mean, and honestly, the first real resistance is going to maybe be right here at that 37,000 because we have that 200-day or the 20-day period moving average.
Yeah.
But after that, man, I mean, we've got a slip and slide all the way down here to about the 32,000. But if we decide to move up, okay, and this thing continues down or continues up, right, and they're able to do what they're doing, it will blow through this zone to that 48,000 to that 45,000, and we're going to see it rally up to the 59,000 to the 57,000 here. So this is the next resistance, and that's pretty much at all-time highs, because all-time highs after that was the 69,000. So we know that Bitcoin can toss.
I can tell you when it gets near that all-time high, it's just going to blow right through it. I don't think there's any resistance there. On your chart there may be resistance, but in my mind, I don't think that. I think it's gonna go absolutely batshit crazy.
Well, what's up, Drano? It's good to see you.
Good to see you, Drano. Mainnet's family, Mainnet Z. Got to say it correctly. Thanks for tuning in and bringing your community here to watch us. Appreciate it. Appreciate it very much.
There's a new guy. Who's a new guy that we had on Full Ramp Friday? Shoot.
It was like Crypto X or something. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, we want to go check out that project because I want to bring some of those traders in here and have them start asking me like some questions about going to chart. I think that would be fun. Hopefully he'll come by today. But in the same sense, I want to throw this out here real quick, this last little bit, and then we can move on to news. We're moving up for the week. And if we're moving up at the beginning of the week, just be mindful of, I talked about this area on the 4-hour chart here. That is a pretty decent area here. And that's at that 44.65 area here. This is a pretty good, decent area here on Bitcoin. Also, this is another area, same area on the S&P, or excuse me, not S&P 500, but on the CME charts as well. So this is a correlation of both. So if we are going to see a drop, that's where I would expect to see it kind of go up to drop. So just giving you heads up.
Heads up. Oops, wait a minute. I pulled the wrong. Just trying to get the screen right here. All right, thank you for the update on the
back to you, Vanna.
BTC. Just so you know, Pedro, I do listen to you, and I was listening to you about the volume potentially going down. Thus, the topic of today's show: consolidation. What's it going to be? And I had a little bit of money in my account that I can trade stock options on. And the only reason I do look at that is to look at MicroStrategy and what's his name? Saylor.
Michael Saylor.
Saylor's company. And I was just looking at some of the calls. And I was gonna say, could go up a little bit here. And I was just gonna buy one call there, and it was gonna be about let's just say we'll just round it up to $3,000, whatever it was for the cost of the call. And I was like, nah, that's a lot of money, and it. Bitcoin tanks a little bit, his stock price will go down, and then it'll be worth $2,500. And with the decay, time decay on the options, it's a week out. It's going to lose another 20-30%, whatever. I'm like, nah, I'm not going to worry about it now because I'm not that sure. It was worth more than double this morning. It's like,
oh, darn it. Honestly, it's best if you're going to play those, right? One of the things I always tell people is don't bet the house. If you're pretty positive that it's going to do something, look, it's 10%. And then write that trade down. The reason why you took that trade, what you were looking at on the chart, also on your options deck, and sitting there and calculate that, right? Try to understand. And I'm quoting my coach here today because I'm doing a lot of back testing right now. I'm trying to develop a new strategy with my current strategy, so they fit like hand to glove. And he brought up something that was very interesting. He goes, when you go back and backdates, you need to also understand the sentiment of a situation, and in additionally to that, understand like the geopolitical situation that was happening, not just the chart itself.
The
so
geopolitical situation is getting a little messy again.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that later on, right? With Iran and what's going on with
and Drano asks, and this is pertinent to this question. What's your prediction on the FOMC meeting, up or down? As for rates, Pedro's been showing us the charts saying that that Treasury, the 1 month, the 5 year, 10 year, all of those are going up. No matter what the government's been saying, Pedro's showing us charts. Look, they're going up. They're going up. They're going up. But the Fed doesn't want to. The Fed doesn't want to do that because it's under huge political pressure from the Biden administration to not raise rates, because the Biden administration wants to go into the election cycle saying, "Hey, we did it, yay!" And as we always know, people vote with their wallets most of the time. And if it's good news for the economy, they're like, "Well, we'll give Biden another chance." And if it's not good news, they'll be like, "Get him out next!" Or what's that meme of the old guy a long time ago? Out. And so my feeling is that from reading the articles, watching the past, taking into politics, and there's a whole geopolitical thing about to erupt too that Pedro and I can talk about at length, that is going to the government's going to try and hold the rates. And I think the market is anticipating that as well, because it just can't raise them again. Canada just held theirs the same. And I know Canada is obviously a reactionary bank to the Fed, but it would look they talk like this, they all talk amongst each other, and I think that they're just going to hold the line for now. And to be honest, the economy is starting to turn around. The economy in Canada is starting to turn around. If you look at job starts, company starts, all that type of stuff, it's just starting to turn around because they put the brakes on the printing press, and they've helped out inflation, draw down inflation a little bit. But it's a big house of cards,
Yeah, at least for now. I mean,
Drano's laughing and giving the thumbs up, and I don't know which the comments they were, but I'll take it as positive feedback to that. Dara says, Bitcoin does not. He's quoting someone. Bitcoin does nothing, or it's the OG master chain, the omni chain, chain of chains, the book of books, the backbone of the new financial system with all of its new L2s and side chains. I don't. Let us know who said that, unless that's you saying that. It's a pretty good quote. But
no. Bitcoin does nothing. It's who he's. So he's quoting Jamie Dimon.
That's what it sounds like.
But end quote, what Lawton says is, or it's the OG master chain. I am horrible at
it's just terrible. We're going to have to take fake accent classes.
Yes, we are going to have to.
And you know what's funny is I used to be able to do a perfect English. I'm sorry.
English. He's about to come over.
I used to be able to do a perfect English accent, various different dialects from the north to the south. And I used to be able to do Irish and Scottish. Now, they all blend into some really bad drunk New Yorker accent. I can't. I used to be able to. I'd study them. I'd be like, oh, that one's from the east. That one's from the west. That's from the north. Over in England, I'd be like, that's Yorkshire. That's Liverpool. That's that's north. That's the Queen's English. That's the south, and stuff. And now I can't do it. And I should be able to rip off an Irish accent too. And now because I hear your terrible one, I'm unable to even contemplate what it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's change it up a little bit here to some fun stuff that happened over the weekend, but it's pertinent to our industry. Here, let's bring up. I haven't used my Stream Deck in a while. Let's see if this works. Yes, the Daily Mail, a home of good quality news. But anyway, this is a good quality topic here. Saturday Night Live on their news thing, their Saturday Night Live news bit. Which is always funny with Colin Jost and Michael Che. It's always hilarious, and I love how they make each other laugh. It's very similar to how Pedro and I make each other laugh, but those guys are usually using bad jokes or inappropriate jokes against each other. They made fun of former President Donald Trump in his one of his campaign speeches, he actually brought up a decent topic about people getting debanked. And it is a problem nowadays, in which we talk about it periodically on this show. It's a problem because if you, for some reason, run afoul of anti-terrorism laws or anti-money laundering laws, even if you haven't done it, but if the bank thinks you're suspicious or the government thinks there's some transactions that are suspicious, they can, just say these accounts are strange. Let's put a hold on them. Suddenly you don't have a bank. Is it possible really to operate in the modern world without a bank, or for that matter, a crypto account with a link to a debit card or something? Some way to charge things, to your account. If you have to live in pure cash, you can do that, but you have to live in your local community there. You can't buy stuff on the internet. You certainly can't buy Amazon. But anyway, they made fun of him for making up this word, and they came up with all the other D words and all this type of stuff. And I laugh at Saturday Night Live things. I'm like, even the dumb ones I laugh. I'm like, I can see where the writers were trying on that. And they blew it on this one. They blew it. So SNL, you blew it. They claimed that he made up the word, literally a word that we've used for years in this industry. And so the Daily Mail wrote, the woke smugness is out of control. Saturday Night Live is blasted after mocking Trump for using the term debank, claiming he made it up, even though it's a common term to use in the financial institutions. And one of the Caitlin Long tweeted, hold on, did that come up? Yes, it did. Caitlin Long tweeted, SNL... Oh, yeah, it's just out of my vision range there. SNL did a skit about debanking, mocking that debanking is a new term made up by Trump. It's not, and they don't know what it means. That reveals so much about SNL's writers. Oh, it disappeared.
It does.
Come on back there.
While you're bringing it up,
may I recommend they get out of their echo chamber and into their heartland. They may learn something. And I bring this up not only because I had a comment on it that got retweeted and liked a lot by Caitlin and her stuff. Thanks, Caitlin. You need to come back on our show. Yes, I said I was watching that. I said I thought that was weird. We talk about it all the time, being debanked on our show. And I said apparently the writers have never run afoul of the Treasury Department. SNL screwed that one up big time.
Dude, but here's the thing. They're comics. They're not historians. They're not. And I put it out at that point where it's like, all right, it's funny. Like even let them. But how many of those other words? And again, first of all, I can't believe you're defending Orange Man. So
I know it's crazy. Drano, just to be clear, which one is your? This is your Twitter feed here. For those of you watching, go follow Drano. He's asking people to follow him so people can learn more about his community at MainNetZ. So not endorsing anything here, but he's been nice to us, and he asked to get a follow. If you're watching this, go follow his Twitter handle at Drano5591. Sorry, Pedro, you're right. I didn't mean to endorse the orange-haired man, but he was right and SNL was wrong. Right, so I gotta be fair there.
Yes, and here's the thing: like out of all the presidents and everybody who's actually looking at crypto as a viable situation, and additionally to that, the idea behind it and what it's doing is a big deal. It's taking power away from central banks, also just large banks in general that run a community around the world, right? Like it's not here just America. We're talking Mexico, South America, out in Africa, right, where we see inflation within a day go up 2-3%,
right.
not a week or a year.
Right.
Okay, like we're talking daily.
And they say, oh, we didn't get the numbers right last month. Inflation wasn't up 50%. We goofed. It was up 150%.
Yeah, exactly. So I say this because there's that backstep behind, whereas crypto's giving those communities an ability to be able to transact and hold and do commerce between each other without going belly up overnight. So it's a really interesting thing, and Trump is abreast of this, and he understands I think he understands. I think he understands the full scope of being able to be debanked and allow yourself to be able to really move among the world with and the ability for it to grow, like allowing money, because what causes economies to grow and prosperity is literally money flow, right? And then
Absolutely.
money flow, then you can actually have commerce, and that commerce then builds upon each other. People get rich, and I hate to say trickle down effect, forgive me for that, but the idea of a trickle down effect where you have richer people spending more money where there are poorer people at within their business because they like it, right? And so then that money builds, boom, 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 and then before you know, we have commerce, and we have a trade, and we have a market. So I hope that's what he's referring to in a lot of the stuff that he keeps talking about debanked in within crypto. Back to you, Bob.
Well, one of the things I wanted to point out with this is it's not just that the SNL writers blew it. Obviously, they blow things a lot. Any group of people will blow things that they're not experts on. Just like Congress, they blow it all the time.
I mean, dude.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. If you got.
No. I mean, look at the red light district. They always blow things all the time. So it's one of those things that everybody's doing it, except me. Okay, go ahead.
But our nation.
That was a joke. That was a good joke. That was a good joke. Red light district. It's okay. Never mind.
Our nation
right,
and everyone's nation is filled with groups like this that don't get it. And what many of the voters don't get, and many of the people going along with what's changing in the U.S. economy and the regulation of the U.S. government of the economy, of your personal finances, and of all that, most people don't see and feel on a day-to-day basis. That's why they don't know about debanking and people losing their banking accounts. The big talk about it, obviously, I'm going to refer back to Canada and a few years ago when the government seized eight people's bank accounts and crypto accounts and everything, and just financially froze them to stop something the courts had ordered them to stop. But then they also then froze the ability of another 100 or so people to send e-transfers to other related people. Essentially, for a week, a bunch of people were debanked. And so once you're put on the radar of the government, now even though the thing we're talking about ended, and people were undebanked, now they have a suspicious report on their bank account. And if they for some reason want to go open a new bank account, the new bank will say no. Say the person says, I'm switching. People switch banks for reasons all the time. Or the bank raises their risk profile. Banks have an overlying risk profile that's divided into 83,000 subcategories. And they just turn it up a notch. It changes all those subcategories, and that affects their risk profile for accounts. And so if that puts that person over the limit, they're like, oh, they got a suspicious report, they're no longer going to be a customer. They also can't get a bank account at another bank because they're above their risk too. They are debanked, and then they are effed. Then they have to get a cosigner. The person has to swear that they're not a terrorist, all this type of stuff. And it's a huge problem. And I don't mean huge as in millions of people. I mean more than one. Than one person, and it's a huge problem being debanked because, as we all know, the economy is switching to cashless stuff. But the big problem is that most people are not exposed to this. We are, because we talk about it all the time. The listeners are, because they hear us talk about it, and things they read in this industry, they hear about it too. And not only that, the whole purpose of Bitcoin is to be able to have an alternative to the bank. So if you get debanked, you can have Bitcoin. And so
Bitcoin.
But the population in general doesn't understand this. And that's the problem with most of the regulations that the government puts on us. Like when the FinCEN group says, well, everybody that even regular people are subject to our rules. So if you see anything suspicious, you're supposed to file a suspicious report. And we're like, really? We're supposed to tattle on our neighbors? Is that what our country does? Yeah, and everyone, no, that's not right. And everyone's like, I don't even know what FinCEN is. And they're like, well, if you didn't do that, it's a felony, and you can go to jail, lose your right to vote, own a handgun, all that kind of stuff. So let me just finish this real quick. So this is the problem with the writers of SNL. They represent a microcosm of Americans that don't get it. And it's not their fault that they don't get it. It's not that they're dumb or stupid. They're all smart people. They got to the top position in their industry for a reason. It's because that they're just not exposed to the real life effects of when bad shit happens, and getting debanked is bad. It's bad. I got de-credit carded a while ago when after I got divorced, and the bank I was dealing with, not my primary bank, but one of the larger ones, said, "Oh, this is a bad risk," and they took my credit card away. All of a sudden, it's like, "Oh, I can't rent a car," And it took me a couple of months to fix it and do all that kind of stuff and find a new one. But for a few months there, I couldn't travel effectively because I couldn't rent a car. So I was like, well, I'm stuck with Uber and that type of stuff. And so when institutions do things like that, most people don't care about it. But it has a massive effect on your life if you're not allowed to play in this financial system. Drives me crazy.
It can really hurt you overall. It kind of almost reminds me of, remember, and I'm not saying this is Nazi, but it reminds me of, or any type of country that starts to really, really hit hard on how they're trying to control.
Good morning, Betty Baskins. Thank you for joining us, Betty. Betty's in the house, ladies and gentlemen. A long-time listener under a nom de plume, but on today is Betty Baskins on Telegram. She's something else, but I'm not going to dox her today like I have in the past. Thank you for joining us. Chuck says, what district is Pedro visiting? I think this is an old one, so I think you were talking about the red light district. I got to tell my red light district story one of these days from Amsterdam. It's really good.
I actually have never been to one, honestly. In
Amsterdam, it's like a tourist zone. It's really funny. But Crypto Mike in the house. Thank you for joining us, Crypto Mike.
Crypto Mike. So on the back end, and just to talk about, when you start seeing neighbors, instead of banding together and developing their neighborhood, when you start seeing them tell on each other, it reminds me of Nazi Germany or other times in history where you saw people kind of ratting out other people so that the government could have more control. And that never bodes well, and never ever bodes well.
Nope. And
so it's one of those things that it's just it's almost like trying to set up what's the word I want to use? An environment of distrust. And when you start to do that, then everybody starts to distrust each other, and it builds almost an unnervingness, almost like with this evasive sickness. And let's say another country that cannot be named, or we might get demonetized, de-YouTubed, or even in Australia. I know that in Australia they were out there and they were doing it, and people were like, keyword snitches, and they were, the government was coming in, and they were literally removing people, and there was so much civil unrest, right? I mean, in that area during this evasive sickness, that it was scary. It was absolutely scary. You're like, oh my goodness, this is really happening. This is and there's none. Is there a way to do? Yeah, connect with your neighbor. Go cook a cake. Go make a pie.
Well, it doesn't work everywhere. Sometimes you're like the Soviet Union, parts of China and Indonesia.
Yeah.
Your neighbor tells on you. Oh, well, he came over and asked to bake a cake. He's never done that before. Something must be wrong. Better get the KGB involved.
Actually,
must be trying to recruit me to be a spy.
Actually, you know what? It's scary, but that is actually kind of true, which is saddening me when I think about that. It is
one of the other news analysis things that I had wanted to talk about today is, as always, complaining about regulation and stuff. But it's Monday. It's one of those gray and awful days, and that's a great day to talk about regulation. So you can just start out the week pissed off about stuff and just get, those bastards. As we all know, the federal government has been trying to U.S. federal government has been doing their best to shit can our industry, right? Just put it in the tanks. It would be done with you. Let the banks have everything and win, and that type of stuff. But it's starting the cracks. While the different agencies are starting different rules that are overwhelming, the IRS and FinCEN, especially, you've heard us talk about. Legislation has not been able to get moving again because thankfully the people with a little brain on their head has kept that back, as they say. Hold on, let me get this. Oop, that was not what I wanted. Oops. There,
Yeah.
just putting the show schedule
All
up
right.
here. And so Congress has been failing to pass any legislation that Elizabeth Warren wanted or anything like that. And as we know from various reports, Biden and crew, in order to get pretty much undying support from the crazy Democrats on Elizabeth Warren's side, is they have basically pushed all of the regulation of the financial markets, or the policy, not the regulation of it, but the new policy things to that cohort of people, Elizabeth Warren and crew. And we've seen the bad plans they've come up with. Thankfully, Congress has said, it's not a great idea. Anyway, this article here says, if all else fails, with Plan A, which I was just talking about, for setting up stablecoin rules with legislation, the industry's Republican allies in Washington have revealed their real worry, and that's the Fed will step in. And the picture, unfortunately, the pictures of Janet Yellen. But she chairs the Financial Stability Oversight Council, which has warned that it's going to take action on stablecoins. I don't know what action they need to do. I mean, stablecoins now, I mean, the market is flushed out. Some of them were warning about other algorithmic stablecoins, is that they're risky too. But the general market for stablecoins now, Tether is worth $100 billion now, or whatever it is, and they are dominant in the market, as they say. But in, November, the Financial Stability Oversight Committee, a collection of heads of the U.S. Department, Treasury, Federal Reserve, Securities Exchange Commission, and other agencies erased some key changes from the Trump era that had neutered the council's power. Blah, blah, blah. Let's see, where is that thing? There's no such thing. The council has been warning of stablecoins emerging dangers to financial stability, in which actually means the dangers of a stablecoin becoming more powerful than the U.S. dollar, even though the stablecoin is based on the dollar. And for the stablecoin to be stable, they have to hold U.S. dollars, which is like staking U.S. dollars, which is good. Anyway, they're putting out all of these things. And the warnings, the Systemic Risk Watchdog's most recent mention of virtual assets came to its annual report last month, which again highlighted crypto as a hazard to the health of U.S. finance. Right here.
U.S. finance. It is
regulators
literally
especially concerns to. As a potential emerging hazard to the health of U.S. finance. It's so utterly ridiculous how something that boosts the U.S. dollar actually
Literally.
causes people all over the world to not only stake U.S. dollars, but to buy U.S. treasuries to become stable.
Literally.
It's unfathomable to me how they could.
It's that they don't know. They don't understand it.
It's because they don't understand it. Exactly. And thus my point earlier, that's why these two things are the ones I wanted to talk about today. My point earlier about the Saturday Night Live writers is that because they don't understand it, because they're not exposed to it, they're not briefed on it, people don't talk about it a lot. And even the staffers for these people, you got to know that the Treasury Department is hiring smart people, right? Down in the depths of the Treasury Department, just like, and at the Fed, the Bank of Canada, all that type of stuff. They have PhDs in economics. They have PhDs in all kinds of stuff. Extremely smart people that know how to do research and know how to do all these things. But who are their bosses? Those people's bosses are policy people. And policy people, I have like mush for brains. They really do. When you talk to a policy person, your eyes start twitching like that non-compute must terminate. And then those people report to the heads of agencies along with the lawyers. And then by that time, people like Janet Yellen and the other people running these agencies have a confusing view of things. A good example, real quick, is when was it? I think it was President Obama was trying to find when they were just at the edges of finding Osama bin Laden. And the reports Osama was getting were like, or no,
Obama.
Slip of the tongue there. The reports Obama was getting, the president was getting, were so watered down by multiple levels of review. You know, the people at the bottom are saying, yeah, that's him. We know right where he is. By the time it got to him, it's like 30% chance it's him. You know, big chance of, all the cover your ass had been going on and all the different policy people went in. And in one of the news stories, Barack famously didn't just ask his national security advisor. He got the head of the CIA on, and he said, "Stay on the. Let's all stay on the phone now, and let's get that analyst on the phone." And they're like, "What?" And then the Barack asked the analyst directly, what it is, and the guy's like, "Ah," and he
Mr.
told him
President?
the truth. He told him the truth, and he said, "We found, it's him."
I bunker and XYZ.
And you heard a bunch of people on the phone going, Analyst is like, "That's what you pay us for. It's him." And of course, he's right. And that's what these
Still
people in
6.
Washington need to do, is that they, and the SNL writers and people on it, they just need to listen to our show, right? Right, Pedro?
That's really it.
That's it. All they need to do.
We can help them out.
We can help.
Here's the thing. Like, most people don't even realize that, like, right now the bonds are being held up by large banks, right, that they go in and buy. But the reality is it's Circle. It's a lot of these stablecoins that are going in and literally buying the U.S. bonds, buying literally the U.S. dollars, treasury bills, so that can actually stabilize the actual dollar. And they will continue to keep buying it, because the reality is they've got to get so big to be able to literally handle and hold what is the need and the demand that's going to be. So it's literally going to be 1 in 1. Whereas if the US dollar goes down, it will go down. But the reality is it is, but the reality is that we need to make sure that somehow.
I love it when you get distracted. You're just the best.
Yeah. But some pops up. I'm like, ding.
It's funny to make fun of, because we all sit here with 8 screens in front of us, our phones, all this type of stuff, and it takes a long time to learn how to do this live stuff, and be able to take in additional inputs without it. Pedro and I don't speak on a script here, where you can just pause quickly and get back at it. We're unscripted and improv, so a lot of times we're thinking about it just as we're talking about it. It's the most dangerous thing you can do in the world. It's like
yes,
it's like not practicing what you say to your wife before you say it, and you're like, "Oops, I fucked that up."
And it will one day come back to bite me in the booty.
Right.
But until then, right? But the reality is this: is that it is literally the people who are so. As we keep growing and the digital economy keeps growing the way it is, the stablecoins will have to keep buying.
Absolutely. They're growing.
They are growing. And we're talking, here's the backside behind it. When they buy those bonds, they buy treasury notes. They go through and they actually buy the dollar, and they sit there. They're receiving interest rates, and really good interest rates as well. Like, they're not willing. Like, I have friends of mine who literally go in and pay attention to the auction, and the people that are going in aren't settling for just the normal 2%, 3%, 4%. They're asking, we want 6%, 7%, which again brings more money flow, again then allows commerce to happen. So it's really interesting to sit there and see that as they buy it, they receive interest off of what they're doing, while at the same time, because they're a business, and when you transact a stable coin, they bring in income from that transaction. And then that in itself then allows people who stake a stable coin, i.e. hold the US dollar, allows them to be able to receive income, and whether that's 4%, 3%, 2%, however the stablecoin is giving it out, it's enough to where it's substantial and actually brings money into the economy, and it adds an additional money flow that has not been there within the U.S. economy. And I wish they would get it, because that money's flowing into the U.S. It's my rant.
Crypto Mike brought up a topic that's a rant here in Kanukistan, as we say. It says, did you see what Trudeau and Jagmeet Singh are going to try and do? Change voter rules. Obviously, Pierre, Jesus, that's his father. Justin Trudeau is the leader of the government here for the Liberal Party, and Jagmeet Singh is the leader of the NDP, the New Democrat Party, essentially Canada's third important party. Not so important now, but usually not so important, but very important now, because they formed a government with the Liberals to keep the power. But their popularity is equivalent to Joe Biden's. It's close to zero. it's right. It might be negative now, you know. But so they've been trying all sorts of things. Quick politics side talk. Everything the new conservative leader has been talking about has been very down to earth stuff, like we need to fix housing, we need to blah blah blah, all the basics, not grand statements or woke stuff or anything like that. He's like, we need to approve building permits faster, then we'll get more supply of housing, then prices will come down. Simple things like that. Then the liberals just take all of his ideas and say it was their idea and go with it. And their ratings do not improve. 0. And so now there's a big thing that they're, as you know, the Canadian, as most people don't know, but Mike knows, the Canadian House of Commons can change all the rules in the country, whatever they want to do. It's basically unlimited power and dictatorship. And so they're going to be changing the rules for the elections in order to stay in power here. I'm not going to go.
So you're telling me, so Trudeau knows he's going to lose, or at least their party, and they're literally rigging the rules behind it, and everybody's okay with this?
They're not okay with it. No, nobody's okay with it except the people in their own party. And I'm not speaking for everyone in those parties, but there's been a lot of grief about it. But they're going to just propose a full-scale overhaul of the federal voting system with the two-party confidence and supply agreement or a series of electoral programs expanding the ability for people to vote. Canada has allowed almost 10 million people into the country over the past... I'm sorry, not 10 million. 1 million people a year into the country. 10 million was the number from the U.S. Thing.
I was going to say.
Allowed 1 million people a year in for the past couple of years for all types of reasons. But most of them have been two batches. Students and asylum seekers. And the both of them, like if you want to be in the U.S., a student from a foreign country or an asylum seeker, to actually qualify for that, you have to go through a lot of hoops. I mean, for a student, you have to be accepted to the school. You have to have a financial backing behind you, so it's not just a get to the U.S. and bolt type thing. And an asylum seeker, to actually get asylum, it's a very high bar. You have to go to court. It has to be discussed for a long time. It's very difficult to actually get the status. I don't mean just walking across the border with Biden letting everyone in. That's different. But in Canada, it's real easy. You just show up here and you're like, I'm asylum. Okay, here, come on. Everything's fine. And they've been allowed to put people in order to boost the voter rolls for them. And for students last year they let in 920 some thousand students, and I was like that seems like a lot of people for, you know, the whole country's only 40 million.
A lot of students.
And they only have so many universities here.
$38 million.
Yeah, it's not like the US where there's a zillion schools. There's only so many in Canada. There's only 10 or 12 public universities. But students here just doesn't mean coming as a freshman or first year student into university. Student means I am here for beauty school. I'm here for mechanic school. You know, I'm here for, fix my watch school. And so, as you may suspect, the countries from Asia have gamed this system, and there's a zillion people in here for school. Because they went to VCR repair school or diesel truck repair school. And
is it free? Is education free over where
you're
at?
No, not all these things. I mean, the public universities are the basic degree is free, but you got to pay for extras and stuff like that. It's like California. California, the basic education at the university, 4 years of 6 classes thing for a bachelor's of something is free. But anything extra, more classes, double major, yada yada, or you got to pay for. But your housing is not free, all this type of. Anyway, that's not the point. The system's totally being abused, and
undone.
Yeah, and what their plan is now a lot of these people have been here for 4 years in school, but really just working on their school visas. They want to just make them citizens and allow them to vote.
Well, I almost want to add this as well. Just I don't think you guys understand the big importance of this. Is 1 million people is a lot of people when you have 30 or 40 million of a population compared to the United States, where literally we have almost 340 million people, and now probably add additional 10 million to that. But that 10 million, it's still. I mean, it's all concentrated in cities. You guys it's being concentrated specifically on universities. Is this how I'm understanding this for us U.S. people to understand?
No, it's not specifically. That's just one of the things that they're trying to do. They let all these people into the country on with, very, very loose rules for coming in. Like, they're not really going to school, but they've got a school visa, which allows them to work, and marry, start a family, all this type of stuff. And so suddenly, they don't have to go through actual immigration to learn to figure out how to come here. They came here for school, VCR repair, and now they have a family here. And I'm not saying deport anyone or anything like that. I'm just saying that it takes all the other people that are in line to become citizens the official way, and then become voters during that period or at the end of that period. They're going to short circuit this and try and get everyone to be citizens before the election starts. And then the person who made them an early citizen who gets their vote, they do. I mean, they're disguising it as something that is good, obviously. What is good is allowing a larger voting period time. In the U.S., that was great. Instead of just voting on one day, there could be early voting and this type of stuff. And some locations had it, some didn't. And early voting has proven to help younger people vote. Because the old people know they've spent their whole lives knowing that first Tuesday in November we vote for president, so they're ready to go vote. And younger people are like, I got to go to the gym. God, I can't. But well, you need to go vote. Yeah, but that hot girl's going to be there. I'm going to the gym, so they don't vote. But if
Booty will get you every time.
Right. And so it's been proven that it helps younger people vote, and younger people do what? They're more liberal than older people. So early voting has almost been an example that's helped the U.S., the Democratic Party in the U.S., and they do have certain cities and districts in Canada do have early voting for certain things, but I don't know how it is on the. Anyway, they're changing some good things. To get more people to vote is always a good thing. Doesn't matter how you do that, and make it easier to vote, better, yada yada. Fewer restrictions on voting, but you can't short the system and bring people in that aren't supposed to vote. That's not how it works. There's a system for a reason. Space Cat says, don't get me going on this. I can talk about this subject for hours. All I did was just mention it, and I'm going on now 15 minutes about it. Drano says, it's lunchtime for me in Dallas, Texas. Keep up the good work, and I'll see y'all next time. Sorry we didn't get to talk about Domain.net Z while you were on today. Come on back on another day, and I'm sure we'll get to it while you're on. Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it, Drano.
Definitely. I almost want to also bring up just the fact that America and Israel is full on going after our good. Our good. I mean, I was being facetious, but right. I stopped myself. Our ally, Iran. So it's really interesting to see what's actually happening here. And what blows me away is in the midst of all of this, right, with everything, we really. I was expected to see crude oil jump dramatically, but we didn't. As much where I thought we were going to drop or shoot up. I mean, there was, but it's kind of hanging out. So my question is this: is what do you think from a crypto standpoint, the war in Iran, because we know that there is a lot of trading going on in Iran and in the Middle East, simply because they have to figure out a way to get around their own personal system. Do you think that it's going to have effect on the hash rates and what's going on with if there are any type of mining and or just even transactions? I mean, because I know that there is a lot going on there. And if there is a major push, right, and we see Iran get pushed in, Dubai is going to have to side one way or another. So it's going to be really interesting to see as it's
let me tell you, Dubai and the United Arab Emirates are firmly planted on the side of the United States. Let me rephrase that. Not on the side of the United States, on the side of against Iran. Iran has directly attacked the UAE before, like actually launched missiles into the Abu Dhabi region, and they have an extensive U.S. based Patriot missile system set up, which took care of these incoming missiles the last time it happened. And so there's no doubt about that. The problem is, let's back it up into this discussion, Pedro. Let's back it up here.
Absolutely.
This morning when I woke up, we all know that the shit's hitting the fan in a lot of areas over in the Middle East.
Absolutely.
How this affects the market, we'll get to talking about. But this morning I woke up and as people have heard me talk about, I'm a fan of the aviation industry, and my brother-in-law's in it and that type of stuff, and it's always intrigued me. And the get newsletters and this type of stuff, and one of them showed a whole phalanx. It's your word of the day, phalanx of KC-135 air refueling United States Air Force planes leaving the U.S. And they're all based in like Arizona and New Mexico, all flying over to Europe and parts yonder. That means a big deployment. Usually those things fly with a bunch of fighters behind them so that they can fuel them in flight and get all the way over there. And something big is going to happen. And then I turn the news on and I see that Iran attacked Jordan and a U.S. base in Jordan. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, this is not good. It's not good at all. And so earlier we were talking about the geopolitical risk. The geopolitical risk is this. And Iran has been a thorn in the side of the United States since it took our people captive for 444 days. In the
70s.
Yeah, in 1978 and 79. And 79 and part of 1980.
80.
And they've been a big problem. And and as I say it, I mean that they still have a real functioning legislature and government and a president, and a prime minister, and the people vote and all this type of stuff. But in 1980, they installed this level of people who are ideological as like their supreme rulers, and they basically tell everybody that all the good ideas that they have for making their economy and country better, they say, nope, jam joom, nope, no good. Those are not good. We have to do things a religious way, not a logical or economic way. And it's raised a whole generation of the next leaders that are also stupid in the head. And so the people of Iran are sitting there like, for Christ's sakes, can't we just get ahead here instead of having this crap on us? I mean, it's almost like, just imagine if in the U.S. Congress there was a whole bunch of congressmen who bowed down and kissed the feet of an unelected person that lived in Palm Beach, Florida, with orange hair, and did whatever they wanted, did whatever that guy wanted, but that guy wasn't actually in charge of anything. That's what it's like in Iran right now. But it has, not right now, it's been that way for the past 44 years.
I was going to say, it's been for a while.
Right.
And also, in addition to that, other nations also bow down to that supreme leader, i.e. not a leader in that country. And so they have a group of people who, when one goes to war, all go to war because they're all brothers. And so it's going to be really
Hamas,
interesting.
Hezbollah. Yeah, those guys. I remember when I was spending some time in Lebanon, I was looking at my map, and I was like, how come we have to go over there? And why aren't you taking that road? He goes, not with you in the car. I was like, why? He's like, white face, not good in that neighborhood. And Lebanon's nice. When I was there, it was nice and safe, and Beirut was very nice and all that type of stuff. It was before their economy tanked and that a huge explosion happened. But still, the guy's like, and the other guy in the car, he's like, Hezbollah. I was like, oh, okay.
Well, and the backside behind it, it's like, it's not even far-fetched from, like, if you're in, let's say, South Central LA or Compton and you're not from that area, it might be wise for you not to go down that area. Just so you know, even though you have the freedom to.
All right, well, let's we could talk about geopolitical risk all day. Maybe that's a subject for Full Rant Friday instead. But let's get back to the charts.
Well, we never really talked about so the reason I was bringing that up is with all that, they all use crypto quite a bit. Like you said,
right.
There's the difference between, and then you're explaining the situation, but the point behind it was like, even though you have the upper echelon, the peons like us, they use crypto, and there's a lot of transaction fees that happen going back. So in this war, do you think, kind of like what happened when we saw with Russia, when people were actually fleeing Russia, or you saw people trying to bounce out of, like they were trying to get in with their crypto, you think we're going to see stuff like that? Or do you think that there's going to be just this, like, religious war is going to kick up, and then we're not going to, I'm wondering your thoughts on that.
My thoughts is that there will be a flight to safety, and right now much of the world has figured out that crypto is safe for their local fiat, and so however the Iranian their internal currency is already not tradable on the open market, but it's very tradable on the black market, and the people pay the rates for that. And in order to get things into crypto, they obviously have to go through the black market in order to get access to that. So they lose a lot of money on the black market, but they've got a whole system set up for doing that, because we've had lots of people come even on this show said, "Hey, I'm in Iran," and that type of stuff. And we know that people in Iran don't have full access to the banking system, and unless the guy's got to set up a mining thing and is purely in crypto, which is possible. You don't have to be a member of any nation to do that, and there's no rules. But if you interact with an exchange or the KYC system at all, it's not good, and you have to pay a lot. But the people over there are used to that, and which means is that they're prepared for it, and they've probably already got most of their money in crypto, or let me rephrase that, in a war-safe type of environment. They obviously have plenty of fiat locally, so they can buy bread and pay their rent and all that. But if they have any savings, they've spirited that out of the country. And I would be willing to bet that relatives all over the world are holding crypto wallets that are ultimately for the benefit of people inside Iran and other countries like that.
I would agree. It's been really interesting as we move forward with this. Again, seeing crypto either becoming clamped down in that area, or really seeing it really pick up, and people just using it and almost becoming like a savior sense, because the reality is, a lot of those people don't agree with what's actually happening within the leadership of their country. So
Right.
It's really interesting to see as we move forward, especially with like obviously Hezbollah being almost like the Navy SEALs, but a very religious Navy SEAL side of things. So it's going to be really interesting to see just how this all plays out, right? And how crypto is going to play out again in it. Jumping back to our charts here. Now, let's check out some of the top moving stuff as we do. We'll check out in the next one here. But as you guys can see, Ethereum here has shot back up into our area of daily demand. Prior to that, we barely got up to it. So for me, I sit there, we shot down, we put lower highs in. But again, even though we had a big push up, I'm not seeing real support coming in for Ethereum. So I didn't really see much of sell-off really either, just halfway mark. But in the same sense, I'm just seeing it shoot up again, looking for a retracement and an area for it to see. So it's gonna be really interesting to see if Ethereum sells off here. Will Bitcoin then do another sell-off? So I wanted to point that out, because we're looking here, we're seeing the 50-period moving average sitting in our supply area. So for myself, I see this as an area of a pretty decent resistant level on the daily chart. And again, this area here is a weekly zone. So for me, when I'm looking at this area, I look at this as an area potentially to see a good sell-off, because you see the 8-period moving average tapping us right here up at the top. So you have a weekly resistant level. Then in additionally to that, I think there was you're right. Forgive me. And then we have the monthly area. But the reality is that weekly retest of that A for me is we went up first in the week to then turn around and go down. The daily, again, hence, is showing to me most likely it's going to turn around and come back down and put in a lower low here from these levels. If not, we'll push through this area, and the next level area here to look at is that 24.25 area.
Welcome, Kaching. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, what up, Kaching? Thanks for joining us. Also, guys, if you guys do us a favor, hit that like button, subscribe button. That really does help us when it comes to getting the information that we want to get out there. Me and Tom definitely do a lot of work.
Hit that like button like this.
There you go. Hit that like button. Boom, boom, boom. All right, so you can see here as we're moving forward, I do see Ethereum hit. Yeah. Oh snaps! Seeing us turn around at these levels here. Let's go down to BNB. Now, BNB has been really interesting. We've talked about this. They didn't put in a lower high here, or very small lower high, but we tapped that 50-period moving average, and we're seeing this move forward. So I said if we were going to turn around, we would see that turnaround in this level of the 311 to the 305, but we had some resistance here, but the reality is look, you can see this is starting to show some strength. And if you look at the volume here, it is showing some volume as we're moving up. So I do see maybe as FOMO starts to happen, people really might start to push BNB up, which might turn around the market much, because I would say that Tesla and Ethereum both here might have to fight for dominance. I know that they talked about Solana fighting for the dominance of Ethereum. So it's really interesting as we keep moving forward here, what's actually happening within market cap, right? Because sooner or later, we're going to start seeing many of these really start to take lead, much like we see in the stock market, where we see like the Microsofts of the world, right? Here we're going to have the type of Microsofts, the major players within crypto that will sooner or later. And these things do stuff, right? They bring in income. There is a substantial amount of community that back them. So when there's a major sell-off, they go in and they act as support. So we could see some big movements here within BNB as we start to move higher. Also, XRP again, sadly, is not showing much, or even though we had more volume today over the weekend, even into kind of last week today, it's not making any real progressive movement. So again, as we see a lot of the, I don't know, like we've talked about this, right, Tom, where they've got a massive lawyer team, they've got a massive dev team there, so they've got to pay. So anytime that
they selling
buyers,
selling. They're depressing their price. They should be pumping right now. When Bitcoin's pumping, XRP, the XRP army should be like, wow, getting crazy. And instead,
straight up,
they tanking.
Nothing, nada.
They tanking.
So
that's because what's the XRP guy's name? Brad.
I forget his name.
Brad Hedlinghouse, whatever. He's selling. He's probably got the keys to the wallet. And he's like, more money. Need more money in the accounts to pay them bills. Boop.
Man, boom. So it's sad to see XRP, but sooner or later, hopefully they will slim down some of their stuff. They'll be out of the lawyer rigmarole that they're in, and literally see this spark, see this push up. So one day that may happen. But again, it's kind of sad to see what we're seeing with XRP. Cardano, ADA is pumping though. And this right here is really interesting. Like we were just going over, we saw that many people were actually buying and the shorters were actually dropping off and being liquidated. So we can see here that it's showing some good strength. I talked about these levels here, that if we hold this level right here, we should then, which we did tap into these lower levels here on the smaller time frames. And then we pushed right back up into those higher levels. So if we do not come down, right, and we keep pushing up.
I don't know if you can see it, but I was just messing with something. I goofed up the I always put a tag up when you're talking about a project like BTC, ETH, or something like that so people can see it. I goofed it up. I got them all up there.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, that's awesome, dude. I can actually see that. It's actually really cool.
Yeah, usually it's just one. But I got them all. I don't know how I did that.
I think it's cool. We'll figure that one out. Oh, what up, Kaching? All right. So Ripple is for the banks. Yeah, and I agree. That's their blockchain is definitely going to be set up for that. My project's actually trying to connect with them, so we'll see how that works out. But in the same sense, we're seeing a lot of movement in this market with the Cardano community. They're definitely stepping in now, starting to push, and we're gonna see I would say if there's going to be some real resistance, it's going to be this 50-period moving average stepping in at about that 55.95 area. So if you're paying close to that, be ready for at least some type of what's the word I want to use? I wouldn't call it a resistance, but if you're day trading that, expect a type of pullback into potentially going lower. But it's looking fairly good. if we do see this stop at these levels here, that 55.95, expected to come back down and retest that 100 period moving average. And we can see it. We tap that, tap-a-roo, and then
Just
look,
tap
it
it
came
in.
up. Tap it in. All right, so then let's check out Doge here. Doge is really unique right now, is that even though we're moving up here, it's actually showing some really good volume. And it's looking like it's putting higher highs in at the previous lower highs. So you can see here we put some lower highs in, and now we're starting to put some higher highs. So if this thing starts to take off, like I said, the next spot is that 10 to 11 cent within Doge. So I know so many Doge people have been waiting for the next, climb to, what was it, 78 cents, 79 cents. They're like, it's gonna be a 10x. I know some people have thousands of dollars in Doge as we speak. So I hope it gets there. But like I said, I don't necessarily believe in hopium. If there is going to be resistance, we're going to be seeing it at that 50 period moving average, which is going to be the 8 cent 65 area. Be ready for that. But besides that 50 period movement, there really isn't much resistance until we get up into that 11 cent, 10 cent area. If we do continue down and we hit that 50 period moving average, the next spot that I do see is going to be at that 7 cent, where we'll put in a new lower low and then come back down, most likely down to the 5 or 6.5, and then down here to these lower levels as I've spoken about in the past. Let's check out Solana. Now, Solana is, again, on a tear, and I just was not expecting this. I mean, I did expect us to hit some resistance and see it continue down lower. But the reality is we held this area here. This is a monthly supply area. And it was resistance that turned into support. And you can see how we found support here and now starting to move up into a higher highs here. So the next one, if we do see it continue, as we see move, because it's above all moving averages here, I expect this to come and test the highs now at that 143 to the 129 area here, and expect that to even potentially even push through that. So we'll see when we come into that level here. But we did put in a decent amount of volume over the weekend, so that to me explains, hey man, there's some real buyers here if they're buying on Sunday and Saturday. Let's go ahead and check out into Litecoin here. And again, this is the sad mark about this, is that I don't understand because Litecoin, we should be seeing some movements in Litecoin that is legit, right? Litecoin is paired to I'm gonna say paired, it's the wrong word to use, but it kind of moves. It should move in tandem with Bitcoin, but it's not. So it's been one of those things. I'm sitting there going, what's the deal with this? Is this dead in the water, right? Is this DIA, right? So, or DIW? Excuse me, I don't know why I said that. DIA. Oh yeah, die because of crypto. My brain went there. All right, that's funny. It's really funny how our brain put associations if you're talking about crypto. Anyways, sorry, side note, but this is where we're sitting at these levels here, and we have a lot of the moving average and above. It's not really holding any real resistance here, but if we are going to move up higher here as Bitcoin starts to move high, I do expect potentially that this should move to at least that $99 mark area. If it doesn't and we fail again, I think people are just going to get frustrated with Litecoin and see a sell-off down to these 49, 47 area here. Because we've already put these lows here in. And so for me, we have higher lows, higher lows, higher lows. The next step is to fall through and to get down to that 49, where there are other buyers sitting at these levels here. Tron. Now, Tron, we talked about this last week. Tron is showing some fight in it, and it's, you can see, even though we're seeing a sell-off in these levels, again, whereas Bitcoin was seeing a sell-off, we saw a higher high and higher low based off this thing. So that community is strong. The strongest bull. And so as I'm looking at this, it's evident that most likely in the next sell-off here down at that 10 cent mark, we'll probably touch that 12 cent to 13 cent area at these higher areas here. It's gonna be really interesting as we move forward. Let's check out Matic here. Matic is showing some sell-off over like Bitcoin here as it sold off. What's interesting is with Matic, with Poly, as Poly is sitting at these levels where it's at that 8 cent. We've got a lot. We got a conglomeration here of the moving averages. These moving averages will act as a ping pong effect until we really start to push higher. But in that same avenue, I see I see as Bitcoin starts to move high. If it does, we should see some movement with Matic in the same sense. There's a big community here, and I think
Yep.
they'd use this sell-off to really buy in, fill their bags, and then right now, as I know, there's this. They're talking about an everything. What do you call it? An everything ETF, but in the same sense, Congress is sitting there saying, no, there's got to be each one individual for each ETF. So it's going to be a Poly ETF. You're going to have a Cardano ETF. So it's a lot of money being able to get traded among and given access to traditional markets. So it's going to be really interesting as we move forward with this. And I think we're going to see them really starting to step into 2024 if there is a sell-off for them to fill up their bags and get them ready for the ETF setup for the institutions. Now we can see here with DOT. All right, DOT has been another one that's been starting to show some real strength here. We're starting to see him pick up in volume here, not much, not necessarily compared to here, but a decent in volume, and it is showing some support. And this is the part that I look at more than anything is, are we finding support on any moving average? And we are. We're starting to find some support on that 8 period as it is starting to pick up here. So if we expect to see a pullback into, don't buy, but expect to see a pullback into that 8 period. And then you can see we do have that 89 period sitting right here. So it act as support as we continue up. And what's nice is we're starting to see some higher highs and higher lows as we move up here. AVAX here, as you guys can see, we definitely hit that supply zone here, did the sell-off. It looks very similar to what we see with Bitcoin, right? But we're starting to see some push up here. So for me, as I'm looking at that 89 to 100-day period moving average, we've definitely found support. I'm seeing volume step in. And in addition to that, we had a sell-off from this 50 period moving average, and we're still seeing we're probably about 50% of halfway through the day here. And so it's gonna be really interesting to see as the Asian market picks up, if they hit that 50 period moving average, are they gonna come in and do a sell-off and retest that 8, or are we gonna see it push back up? Now let's check out Shibaroo. Shibaroo isn't doing much again. Shibbity shib. As we're sitting here at this point, again, it just kind of looks like a blah blah. It's definitely no Dogecoin, as you can see here. Dogecoin is definitely starting to push up with real volume. So it's sad to see what's actually happening here. So we're going to see if it's going to be able to push through that 20 period moving average and find support on that 8 period. Now let's check out what the DYOR watch is looking like. CAS here, as we've been talking about, it's definitely still sitting in this range bound system. You can see here that as we're going side here, it's finding resistance against the 100-day period moving average, and we're starting to see the other moving averages starting to just ping pong off it. So it looks like a little sausage fest here. So in the same sense, we want to make sure that we're definitely paying attention to the sausage fest and seeing how things are going to ping pong here. If it does come in, we start to see the community really rally behind CAS. The next spot for this to push is up to the highs of that 13, because we came and test the lows of this of our what do you want to call it? Range bound area. We came and tested the lows. So the next part we should see is coming up to see if it touches the highs here. If not, the next spot is down at that 7 cent 861 area to the 7.155 area. Let's check out Nets. Nets right here is still
Net Z
is definitely looking fairly strong, because every time it sells off, we're really seeing a lot of people starting to buy in. So this community here is showing some major strength here at these levels here. Now granted, they're still fairly new, but you can see here, even though we're seeing sell off at these levels, it is starting to show some support here. Now the back end behind it though is we are still below the 8 period and the 20 period moving average. So to me, it's stuck in between this support and resistance. So we very much could still see a ping pong effect as we move forward. It's got to break above that 8 and 20 with volume to see us test to the new highs. So it's one thing to be paying attention to. Let's check out Raven Coin. Raven Coin is still as we've talked about here, it's still kind of consolidating. But one thing about it is it keeps staying and closing above that 8-period moving average. And any trader that starts to see something like that with volume and holding as we see a sell-off and then see it buy back to push up is one of those things that, hey, look, that's interesting. It's definitely, I would want to be in this trade here at that 1 cent 947 area. And that, for my stop would be at that 1 cent 6 area here and below, just seeing as we move. And again, that mark here that we could see is get up to the next level here, which is going to be that 0.05 cent mark area. So that could very much be a 5x for you if you're looking to get into that. Again, this is all educational purpose only, for entertainment, education people.
It's running down there. It's running.
I love it. And I'm running along these things here. Let's check them out here. One of the backside behind it, as we look up into this market, this is really interesting as we're moving. We're starting to find support on that 89-period moving average with iron. So iron sitting here, as we're seeing, once we broke through this, right, like I said, we want to see some volume step in, and we did. We pushed through with volume. We came back and retested that 8 as well as 89, and we're going to see it. We should see this thing come at least to that $2.20 area where it retests. And then the next spot, if we see that, we come up to this level, we should see it come back, retest that 8-period, and then see it potentially come to that 388 mark area. So it's going to be really interesting to see without hardly any real resistance at these levels here. So I look forward. If it does push forward, hopefully we'll get the iron community to come back and talk about their coin so you can see how they did it.
Yep.
On a side note, you can see that we do have a 213 weekly, and this is the part that I bring up again, a weekly SMA. That 8 right there, it's definitely one of those things that as we're seeing it, we hit it, we can see a sell-off come down to that 1416 area here, and then see it rally back up. So it all depends on what you want to do. My biggest concern is it is still at the beginning of the week, and so it's putting in that supply wick. That supply wick to me explaining that it very much could turn around once we hit that 8-period moving average. So be ready for that. Let's check out Theta here. Theta here is on a nice little consolidation. We got a nice little ping pong effect, but a sausage fest right here. So again,
Sausage
be ready
fest.
for that. There we go. All right. I don't even know where this comes from. Anyways, but Theta here is, you can see how we hit that.
Welcome, it's Carlo watching us on Kick. Thanks for joining us. It's Carlo. If you're still there, I let that comment sit there for a while, but thanks for joining us on Kick. We don't get a lot of viewers on there, but it's Carlo. If you are still there watching, comment and let us know where you're coming from. Appreciate it. Appreciate the view.
And also, if you don't mind, coming over to the YouTube channel here and just hitting that like button and subscribe to us. We're trying to build up our little thing. And just we're holding steady now. I was hoping to see a nice
no
little
need.
boost.
Well, thanks for joining us, Carlo. Anyway, I appreciate it. If you got any questions, we're an interactive group here. Just let us know.
So you can see here, yeah, if you want to come through. Guys, if you guys don't mind hitting that like button as well, if you're still listening to us and in my crazy antics here, would love to hear your guys' comments and or like button if you do enjoy the comedic relief here. So Theta again here is, we're having that 100-day period moving average. We did pierce it, and we were not able to actually get above it and close. So we want to make sure that the next portion is to find support. Coming down to that 100 or that 200-day period moving average and hitting that 100-day period moving average as we're bouncing like a ping pong. So we need to see volume come in off of this. And you can see right here over the last weekend, you did see a little bit of volume on Sunday and today. So it's going to be really interesting to see as we move forward. If Bitcoin starts to move forward, we should see this. It's a very similar chart to Bitcoin. So be ready. If it does start to move, we will see a move higher. Let's check out Near here. Oh, I got rid of Near. All right, we'll come back to that in a second. Jasmine here. I expected to see us come down to this low level. So I'm still bearish on here for now. At 0003 or 003 to the 0036
Which
area.
one you got up there? Sorry about that. I missed the.
Oh, it's all right. This is Jasmine.
Jasmine.
Yeah. So, I know we were looking at, somebody had mentioned that. So, and I think they had some really.
Pitmonk did.
Yeah. But where is Mr. Pickmunk?
Have not seen Mr. Pitmunk
I
today.
know,
Must be
for real.
busy actually doing real world stuff.
That's how it works. All right, so you can see here as we're looking at this, I want to see it come down to this lower level here. We did try to tap that 200-day period moving average, but we weren't able to continue up by hitting that 100-day period moving average, acting as resistance. So we should see it come back down to these lower levels before we see a pretty decent rally moving up. So that is it in a nutshell. Is there anything
Hey,
else you guys want
how
me to
about
look
hitting
at?
helium there? We watched helium
Yeah.
go through a nice run last week.
Let's check it out right now. Helium is my all-time favorite. I've as soon as I found crypto, there are three things that got me interested. One, watching Dogecoin move up, and I didn't buy it. Two, would have been looking at helium that got me into it because I saw the technology behind it, and I was like, wow, free internet for everybody, and everybody can make money on it. Yeah, that's a no-brainer. So, and then the backside behind it, as well as, and this is what gets me going, right, is that the fact is that one thing about crypto that people don't realize is that it decentralizes a lot of things. So if somebody's got a good idea, it can be financed through crypto and get it going, i.e. helium, right?
Right.
Taken away from major, not having to actually run an infrastructure system, but actually have a miner that actually mines for you, and every time somebody uses it, they pay you, right? Even though it's just pennies, right? It's cheaper for everybody, and you make money on it. So it's just really, I think it's just a better system overall as we speak. And the best part behind it is you make money. And you can make a lot of money as the coin starts to move higher and higher and higher. So as we say, let's jump back here. Over the weekend, we actually consolidated just a little on Sunday, but we're still starting to move up. So I'm going to expect for helium to come back down to that 7 cent mark area for a retestment. And then after that, it should make new highs. That should be the movement here. As we come back down, we put in a nice little seller wick here. So expect to see this come down. This is giving me the correct signal for a movement up into the week, right? We're selling off for the first of the week to see it return to higher levels here. So it's one of those things that we could see definitely a movement up.
Right.
Hopefully you guys were able to get in at these lower levels. Go ahead, Tom.
All right. Kaching has asked for Celestia Tia.
Yeah. All right. DIA. Oh, is this the one that we can't find? We keep looking for it?
Probably.
Actually, no, I'm sorry.
No, that was
Yeah.
RNT or
Yeah.
Rencom or something.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
This is
So,
Celestia. It's still going.
Yeah, it's still going. It's strong. Came back down to our area of demand here that I talked about. So you can see we came down, found support on that 8-period moving average. Looking like it's now starting to move up. So this is a nice little play here. If we are going to see it move, you want to see today coming with some real volume. Again, this is going up for the day. Hence, it could turn around for the weekend, right? Throughout the week. So we want to see volume really pick up so that we can close above this previous day and then come down into tomorrow to see it rally up as we move forward. So just real quick, is this a long-term hold, or are you looking for accumulation, or are you just looking for a quick buck?
I think the answer is D, all of the above.
All right. So if you're looking to see a rally up higher, we should get to that $20, 35 cent area here. We're sitting at that 17. So that's just, that's $3 there. We should be able to see it push through, if it most likely will. So I would take our first target around this area. If we close above it, right, wait for it to push back up and then come back down for a retracement to add on. But that's just for what I would do. Actually, let's check out ICP, because ICP is another one that we did find a little bit of support on the 8. But we're coming down. This one came down first into the weekend, right? And I'm going to be looking again to buy in at that 50-period moving average for myself for ICT.
ICP.
And then, ICP. Why don't we? And I'm not talking about the insane clown posse. Here. First time I saw that, I was like, ICP. Oh, snap. Yeah, nope. All righty. Yeah, so that's what I think about TIA. Anything else, guys?
He's a long-term hold in TIA.
Yeah. There you go. Definitely. Any concerns, questions, gripes, complaints, praises?
Well, I'm gonna go through. I've changed up the way I do the little on the broadcast. I have the project you're reviewing up there, and I use Google Sheets to list and keep a list of it, and I just click the one, and it goes through my system here and comes up on the great screen there. And I was adjusting it earlier when I had them all listed, but now what it does is I've redone it so I keep a list of the things that we go over or have talked about, and it's an interesting list that of things that as they say we chat about. And so today I'll just go over what we've spoken about either today or recently. ADA, AVAX, BNB, Bone, which we didn't talk about today, but last week we did. BSV, which is Bitcoin Cash or whatever. Is that Bitcoin Cash? No, it's BSH. BSV is the Satoshi Vision, right? Bitcoin, obviously, Doge, Dot, ETH, Gala, Helium, Human, Iron, Caspa, Litecoin, Matic, NetZ, Ravencoin, SHIB, Solana, Squidgrow, Theta, Tron, XRP, Jasmy, TIA, Celestia, and Internet Computer. Pretty good list of stuff there. Mm-hmm. But for those of you viewers watching live, and if you're watching this on the replay and got into the almost to the end of the second hour of this, good for you. Give us some other ones to review that to get us out of our little bubble, like maybe things that are not related, that are not EVM tokens, or something else. I mean, not everything's obviously an EVM token, but get us out of our shell. Give us something new to talk about. And maybe something new that has a big community that we can go and raid their community, get them to come on our show, subscribe, listen, and partake in the fun that goes on here. I know all your OGs here that are watching are like, hey, this is our area, to talk and all that. But Pedro and I want some NGs, some new guys too, to come in and boost up the engagement. So talking about new projects always helps us out in that manner.
I remember the first time I went into the military. You're like, you're the F and G. Get down to the bilge. And I was like, what? What's the F and G?
New effing guy.
So yeah. Any questions? Yeah, I really want you guys to come. Bring your friends, let them know. Tell your friends, tell your mom. Post this on your personal, family. I don't know.
Everyone's got a family chat.
Yeah. Post it. Say these guys rock, and then let them make fun of me, and then you can report back to me and say, oh yeah, they're making fun of you. And I said, perfect. If you guys saw me face to face, you'd even make fun of me harder. But I just can't handle the insult that much. No, I was just joking.
Chuck says new people, new projects, and new ideas are always welcome. That's true.
Always.
Unless the ideas are bad, then we'll.
No, you know me. I love a bad idea, because the truth is that bad idea I can make fun of, and we can have fun. But all in good fun, always in good fun. We're not just pointing fingers at you and laughing at you. Just remember, there's 3 pointing back at me, so that's all good. Anyways, so I guess we're at our 2-hour mark here, and I think we're towards the end of the show here. You can tell as I'm starting to wind up the show, I start easing the music a little louder in the background. Yeah.
But that's why I was going over that list of tokens here. Is that we hit all those tokens today or in the past week? Need to add to the list, but that's a good group, and it'd be fun to track. Actually, that would be a fun to track is their overall as a basket, what their rate of return is. Kaching gives us a little news here. SteamX completed their migration. I think he means migration from token to coin last week. A few bumps, but went pretty well. That is news. Well, that is news too. Why don't Pedro, can you find the SteamX chart? Royal Q's in the house, coming to us from Zimbabwe. That's right? Zimbabwe, Royal Q, if I remember. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it. Thanks for the hands. Woo, 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 woo. Unfortunately, you caught us at the end of the show here. But as you may suspect, it's all there on YouTube, so you can go back and watch it, enjoy. We hit a lot of projects today. A lot of projects in the beginning of the show. In the middle of the show, we had a lot of political talk, news, geopolitical stuff, all that crap, and that's the kind of stuff that I like to yabber on about. And then we came back and hit a whole bunch of tokens again. In fact, we're going to try and hit one more here that Pedro's looking for. SteamX. That's one of the ones we always have a hard time, and I probably guess it's because they're switching from token to coin, so the whole thing changed up. Oh, Kaching says the SteamX coin chart's not functioning yet. Yep, you're late. That's all right. That's all right. Zimbabwe is, I don't know, what, plus 6 or plus 7 UTC. I don't remember what it is. Space Cat off to the gym. Space Cat, as usual, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Space, the final frontier.
And of course, Royal Q saying, awesome show. Wait, I got one for that now. I got one for that now. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Pedro. I think your microphone is on mute, by the way.
It is. That is funny. That explains why you keep interrupting. I was like, that's kind of rude. Anyways, no, I was just when it comes down to this, when I'm looking at this market here, as we go off to the gem, Space Cat, listen, make sure you get your squats in. Get your squats. Don't be all big up on top, and then I'll be little itty bitty bitty.
No pencil legs.
Below, no pencil legs, baby.
Nobody likes that.
Not here. Nuh-uh. Here at DYOR Media Network,
better have pencil arms, baby.
Exactly. We do the full body, not just upper body and lower body, baby.
White body. Ooh. I am winter white. That's what color I am right now.
Ooh, bro, I'm blind, bro. I'm blinded. What are you doing, man?
No, let me take the shirt off. No! Kaching says, I came in towards the end, but can't imagine the rest of it wasn't absolutely phenomenal. And we actually, if you missed the good laugh in the beginning, or somewhere in the first third of the show, we were talking about having a striking ETF, and the symbol was going to be balls. So, that was a good part. That was a good part. We got the laughs going.
Oh, it was good. It was good. Hey, man, as we keep moving forward, dude, I do look forward to seeing a lot of this go on, man. That's the biggest thing, right? Is that I think as we are more humorous, and also our community, I think our community is enjoying what we're doing here, and as we keep growing, it's a fun time and a good time had by all.
Yeah.
Anything else,
schedule here tomorrow, Tuesday, 12 p.m. 5 p.m. UT. Oh, I goofed that up. That's what's the difference? Oh no, that's right. We're -5 here. So 5 p.m. UTC. Wednesday at the same time. Thursday and Friday are to be determined right now. On Wednesday, we do have a guest here, the DYOR Exchange CEO and co-founder. It's going to be on the show to talk about a new DEX coming out that's doing things a little differently than everybody else. So it'd be good to hear about them. As I said before, I ran into them because of the name. Actually, I've ran into them because another co-founder of theirs, and I have a similar background, and I was on his LinkedIn, and I saw DYOR Exchange. I'm like, what is the DYOR Exchange? Because we have the same name or similar names, I said, let's do some co-marketing here. So I'll have them on to talk about what they've got coming on, and that is Wednesday. So tune in for that. It should be a good one. They claim to have an exceptionally large community, which I don't think we'll see on this day because they have 300,000 people on their waiting list or something like that. That nobody can verify those types of numbers and things like that. But they have many thousands of people in their Telegram. That's just an announcement channel, and usually you don't bot announcement channels. This doesn't do you any good. And so forth. So I look forward to having them on and to seeing if all the good things they've been talking about and the legit people that are fully doxed in the real world are going to put together a nice nice new exchange DEX for people to use. Pedro, you got anything else before we roll out of here?
Nah, man, just make sure that you guys are safe in this crypto jungle because it's getting nuts out here.
It's getting nuts.
Yes, sir.
You don't think it's already nuts in crypto, Pedro?
Oh, I do, but it's really interesting to see what's going on with the wars that's happening. And additionally to that, we're seeing a lot of this legislation kick in, and I think it's really going to hit the fan here, probably in about, as we see a sell-off within the S&P 500 and people start losing jobs. I mean, there's some stuff that's happening here. And if they raise rates, man, it's going to get, this week. And I know people don't think, but I mean, if they were going to drop rates, I would expect the 1 month, 3 month to start to see some sell-off, and just they're holding strong. The overnight Fed rate, right, isn't necessarily going down. So it's one of those things that I'm like, is this the calm before the storm? And if this is the calm, then holy crap.
I don't know. There's going to be a storm, and it's either going to be down or it's going to be up. I think we're going to have some significant movement one way or another, and it all depends on what's going on. Kaching just piped up. He says, I can spell. I'm just typing like it's Monday. I'm kind of guessing that you're typing on a keyboard because the phones would have got a lot of those on autocorrect. Anyway, as I like to say, it's that time of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for tuning into our show. We had a good one today. Got a lot of good laughs here, and got some good engagement from people. Had around 55 viewers across the various platforms here today. Really appreciate everyone that tuned in for the entire show, and especially those people that tune in for just a little bit and made a comment to help us with engagement, and to just come on and get to be entertained and educated, if only for just a little bit. So Pedro and I will be here tomorrow at 12 noon, 5 p.m. UTC, 6 p.m. Central European time, and I don't know what time that is in Zimbabwe for Royal Q.
One last.
Yes, sir.
I apologize. I'm going to interrupt. Also, if you guys want us to go through and reach out to certain projects or people that you want us to interview, or topics in which you want us to go and discuss and research, please drop them in the comment section, and me and Tom will go through, do our due diligence and check them out, or do the research on the actual project or subject themselves, and see what we can make happen for you guys.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. As I always say, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking. We will see you tomorrow.